In the quiet hum of a small-town grocery store in rural Ohio, Emily Thompson stood at the end of aisle 3, her fingers trembling slightly as she counted the last few coins in her palm. It was a chilly autumn evening, the kind where the wind whispered through the cracks in the old building's doors, carrying the scent of fallen leaves and distant rain. Emily, a 32-year-old single mother with tired hazel eyes and hair pulled back in a simple ponytail, felt the weight of the world pressing down on her shoulders. She had just enough, exactly $7.32 for a loaf of bread, nothing more. Her daughter, Lily, was waiting at home, hungry after a long day at school. This was it. Her last coins. Emily's life hadn't always been this way. She grew up in a modest home in Cincinnati, dreaming of becoming a teacher, helping kids like her own someday. But life had other plans. Her husband, Tom, left 3 years ago, chasing dreams that didn't include them. Now, it was just Emily and 6-year-old Lily in their tiny apartment on Maple Street. Emily worked 2 jobs, mornings at the local diner, flipping pancakes with a forced smile, and evenings cleaning offices downtown. Still, the bills piled up like autumn leaves as rent, utilities, Lily's school supplies. Payday was 5 days away, and the pantry was bare. Bread would have to do for dinner tonight, maybe with a bit of peanut butter scraped from the bottom of the jar. She picked up the loaf, soft and fresh, its aroma filling her nostrils like a warm hug she desperately needed. As she walked toward the checkout, her sneakers squeaked softly on the linoleum floor, echoing in the near-empty store. The fluorescent lights buzzed overhead, casting a pale glow on the shelves stocked with items she couldn't afford: cans of soup, boxes of cereal, fresh fruits that Lily loved but rarely got. Emily's mind wandered to better times, family picnics by the river, Tom's laughter mixing with Lily's giggles. But those memories faded now, replaced by the constant ache of worry. How would she explain to Lily that there might be no breakfast tomorrow? The thought twisted in her gut like a knot she couldn't untie. At the counter, the cashier, an older woman named Mrs. Hargrove with kind wrinkles around her eyes, scanned the bread. "That'll be $7.29, dear," she said, her voice gentle, as if she sensed Emily's struggle. Emily poured the coins onto the counter, counting them one by one under her breath. A penny rolled away, and she caught it just in time. 3 cents left in her pocket, enough for nothing. She forced a smile, her cheeks flushing with quiet embarrassment. "Thank you," she murmured, taking the bag. As she turned to leave, her eyes stung with unshed tears. The door seemed so far away, the parking lot outside dark and unwelcoming. Unbeknownst to Emily, standing a few feet behind her in line was Alexander Grant, the CEO of Grant Technologies, a thriving software company based in nearby Columbus. At 45, with salt and pepper hair and a sharp suit that spoke of boardrooms and big deals, Alexander was far from his usual world of high-stakes meetings and private jets. He was in town visiting his elderly mother, who still lived in the old family home on Elm Avenue. Tonight, he'd stopped at the store for a few essentials: milk, eggs, and a newspaper. But as he watched Emily count her coins, something stirred in him. He saw the exhaustion in her posture, the way her hands shook just a little. It reminded him of his own mother, years ago, scraping by after his father passed away. Alexander had built his empire from nothing, but he never forgot those lean days. Emily reached the door, the cool air hitting her face as she stepped out. The parking lot was dimly lit by a single street lamp, casting long shadows over the cracked asphalt. Her old sedan waited there, its paint faded from years of sun and neglect. She clutched the bread to her chest, thinking of Lily's small face lighting up at the sight of it. But deep down, fear gnawed at her. What if the car wouldn't start? What if Lily got sick? The questions swirled like leaves in the wind. She paused for a moment, taking a deep breath, the bag crinkling in her arms. The store's bell jingled behind her as someone else exited. "Excuse me, ma'am," a deep voice called out, steady and calm. Emily turned, her heart skipping a beat. It was the man from the line, the one in the suit. He approached slowly, his polished shoes clicking on the pavement. Up close, his eyes were kind, framed by faint lines from years of smiling through stress. "I couldn't help but notice. You only got the bread. Is there more you need?" "Groceries, maybe?" "I'd like to help." Emily blinked, confusion washing over her. "I'm sorry," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. Strangers didn't just offer help like this, not in her world. She shifted the bag, glancing around as if expecting a trick. The wind picked up, rustling the trees nearby, and a few leaves danced across the lot. Alexander smiled gently, pulling out his wallet. "I saw you at the counter. Life can be tough sometimes. I've been there. Let me pay for whatever else you need. Go back in, get more. I'll cover it all." The words hung in the air, soft and unexpected, like a warm blanket on a cold night. Emily's mind raced. Pride welled up first as she wasn't one to accept charity. But then she thought of Lily, of the empty fridge, of the way her daughter's tummy growled last night. Tension built in her chest, a mix of hope and hesitation. Was this real, or some cruel joke? She studied his face, searching for insincerity, but found only quiet compassion. "Why?" she asked, her voice cracking slightly. The parking lot felt smaller now, the distant hum of traffic fading into the background. Alexander paused, his expression softening further. "Because I can. And because everyone deserves a break sometimes." "My name's Alexander Grant. What's yours?" "Emily Thompson," she replied, still wary but feeling a flicker of warmth. They stood there for a moment, the autumn breeze swirling around them, carrying a faint scent of rain on the horizon. Together, they walked back into the store. Mrs. Hargrove raised an eyebrow but said nothing as Emily, with Alexander's encouragement, began filling a cart. Milk for Lily's cereal, eggs for breakfast, fresh apples, shiny and red, vegetables she hadn't bought in weeks, carrots, broccoli, even a small bunch of grapes. The cart grew heavier, each item a small victory against the emptiness at home. Alexander stood by, chatting lightly about the weather, the town, anything to ease the awkwardness. "I grew up here," he said. "This store hasn't changed much. Still the best bread around." Emily nodded, her tension easing with each aisle. She told him a little about Lily, how she loved drawing pictures of animals, how she was top of her class in reading. The words flowed easier now, the store's warmth seeping into her bones. But underneath, a gentle tension built. What came after this? Would it change anything long-term? As they reached the checkout, the total climbed to over $100. Emily's eyes widened, but Alexander waved it off, swiping his card without a second thought. "Get more if you need," he said, his voice firm yet kind. "I'll pay for everything." Outside again, loading bags into her car, Emily felt a wave of gratitude wash over her. Tears brimmed in her eyes, but they were different now, a relief, not despair. "I don't know how to thank you," she said, her voice steady but emotional. Alexander handed her his business card. "No thanks needed, but if you're looking for work, my company has openings. Administrative assistant, flexible hours. Give me a call." He paused, looking at the darkening sky. "Take care of that little girl. And remember, kindness comes back around." Emily drove home slowly, the bags rustling in the back seat. The road wound through quiet neighborhoods, street lights flickering on one by one. At home, Lily's face lit up like the sun as Emily unpacked the groceries. "Mommy, apples, and milk." The little girl hugged her tight, and for the first time in months, Emily felt a spark of hope. Days turned into weeks. Emily called Alexander, and soon she had a new job, a better pay, closer to home, no more scraping by. Lily thrived, her drawings now filled with colors from new crayons. Emily learned that Alexander's act wasn't just a whim. He funded a local food bank, quietly helping families like hers. In the end, it wasn't about the bread or the coins, it was about a single moment of connection in a vast, often indifferent world. Emily realized that struggles could lead to unexpected grace, that one person's generosity could ripple outward. And as she tucked Lily into bed one night, watching the stars through the window, she whispered a quiet vow, to pay it forward someday. If you're reading this, remember, a small act of kindness can change everything. Look around, someone might need yours today.